I think I frothed my milk too much. Hi, my name's Tammy. I also go by Uncomfy because your girl's a little anxious, but I'm a cozy clay artist that primarily works with polymer clay right now. I make a living with my shop selling cute handmade items with the intention of just bringing these little moments of joy and just warmth throughout people's days. I thought it'd be a great idea to do a clay with me while also getting to know me a little better. I'm gonna be chatting throughout this video, talking to you guys about some things that you may not know about me, some things that I've gotten a lot of questions about. So grab a warm beverage, it's good for your soul, and I hope you like this video. These days my monitor is filled to the brim with sticky notes. I just have a lot of ideas and also a lot of things to do. This is one of the ideas that I'm really excited to do, so maybe that'll be the next video. This is what we're gonna be tackling today. Even though I can access all the orders on the Shopify website, I like writing them down and crossing them out. I think it's like a psychological thing. It also makes it so I don't have to switch my browser between Shopify and Netflix. I can just watch my shows in peace and cross out things on the sticky note as I go. This space tends to get really messy, but I'm gonna try my best to keep it as clean as possible. I think it just elevates my mood when it's not as messy. Welcome to my desk. I'm gonna try to sculpt while talking to you guys, but bear with me because I'm not a good multitasker. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know that I mainly do studio vlogs. The first video I posted on YouTube ever was in August of 2021, so it's been a couple years since I started this journey. Last week I revisited some of my old videos, and last year I had blonde hair, I did my makeup super differently, I wore different clothes, and obviously I'm still super young, I'm only 22, but compared to my 19-year-old self or my 20-year-old self even, I'm way more comfortable with myself than I ever have been, and that's expected. Confidence comes with age. I get so many questions asking me how to be confident in your art, how to be confident in yourself, and it's something that I'm still working on to this day. I've always been a super reflective, super introspective person. I remember days in high school where I would just skip school and go to the lake by myself with a little notebook and just write. I so desperately wanted to live a romantic life. I think my spirit has always been the same, and I've always wanted to live a super cozy life and also be independent and also support my family, and I've always wanted those things. But in terms of confidence and in terms of what brings me joy, I think those things have changed. I wouldn't say that I'm outgoing by any means. I'm still super introverted, but whenever I talk to people about art or content creation or being self-employed, I've been feeling so empowered lately to try to share as much knowledge as I can. I think something that a lot of you guys may be surprised by is that in high school, I had no passions at all. I would skip school constantly, and even when I did attend school, I would sleep in my friends' cars. And it's not that I was taking education for granted, but I think baby Tammy had the foresight that she wasn't going to med school, that she wasn't going to law school. I'm so grateful that I had the foresight as a high schooler that I would need to save my energy for something bigger. Imagine this, it's a beautiful Sunday, you want to go to a local cafe, get some work done, get your week put together, maybe even file your taxes that you've been putting off. You pack up your laptop, you get ready, you go to the cafe, and then all of a sudden you look down and you're not wearing pants. You're in the hustle and bustle of a city cafe and you're naked. That is what not having a VPN is like. Tammy, what's a VPN? Well, good thing Surfshark has us all covered. If you don't know what Surfshark is by now, Surfshark is a VPN, virtual private network service that keeps you safe and protected while allowing you to travel the world virtually with just the tap of a finger. A VPN encrypts your private data and keeps you hidden on the internet so that you are safe on public Wi-Fi, safe from predators or scammers. So if you're a student working on campus or just an avid cafe goer like I am, Surfshark keeps all your data safe, which is why a VPN is like wearing pants. Everything important stays private and secure. Not only does it keep all your information private, with Surfshark I can change my digital location with just the tap of a finger. It allows you to change your IP address. They have over 3,200 servers in 100 different countries so that you can access the entire Netflix catalog. So last night I was able to watch The Judge, which was the #1 movie on Netflix in Canada, and it was so good. Protect not only yourself but your whole family with just one account and get Surfshark VPN. Go to the link down in my description and use code Uncomfy for 83% off plus an additional 3 months free when you sign up for Surfshark. They have a 30-day money-back guarantee, so there's really nothing to lose. And thank you Surfshark for sponsoring this video. I still got good grades. I still took all the AP classes just to get those college credits and to lessen the financial load for me and my family. But I never tried that hard. I certainly didn't take AP calculus. But yeah, my senior year of high school, I had this sort of epiphany that I wanted to pursue something with the arts. I wasn't even good at art. Like, I had audacity to believe that I could make it as an artist. I think there's a lesson to be learned from little Tammy, that your energy is precious. And I always imagined myself being my own boss, mainly because I don't like people telling me what to do. I think that's a huge marker whether or not you will like being self-employed. And I think for how calming and mellow I may seem, I'm actually pretty strong-minded and strong-willed, and I definitely get that from my mother. My mom is definitely the traditional strong Vietnamese woman. She was always the matriarch of my family, and throughout my life I always saw both of my parents as dreamers and super hard workers, and I grow to admire them more and more every single day. There's still a stigma against artists and how stable their income is, and that's why I make videos like this, to prove everyone wrong, and I like doing that too. I'm passionate, super strong-willed, and I love proving people wrong. Someone asked about the role of friends in my life. Do I have many? And were there any obstacles getting to where I am socially? I feel like I've talked about a lot of things on this channel, but I haven't really talked about friendship yet, which is obviously such a huge part of anyone's lives that I'm sure many of you can relate to. The drama of it, the heartbreak of it, the joy of it. I've always only had a very small circle of friends. I've never gravitated towards large groups. I've always only hung out with 2 or 3 people at a time, and I think that's where I'm happiest. Most of my friends are lifelong friends. They're either people that have lived in my neighborhood since I was a kid, or I met them through school, but recently I made a friend outside of school. She's the girlfriend of one of Mr. Uncomfy's friends, so we met basically through association. She's the first friend that I've made outside of the institution of school and without close proximity. So it was the first friendship that I made as an adult. Like, it was a connection that we both recognized, that we both thought was worthwhile to keep nurturing and to put in the effort to even hang out with each other every once in a while. And even though I love spending time alone, I love just having the day to work on my stuff and to film and to sculpt and yeah, just like spend time working on my passions. Having friends, specifically girlfriends, to just talk to randomly throughout the day, you know, keeps me from being lonely. It's sort of ironic now that I revel in my alone time, because throughout my adolescence, I think loneliness actually was the biggest obstacle that I had to face. It wasn't just the fact that I couldn't handle being by myself, but it was the fact that even when I was with others, I still felt alone. And that sense of loneliness honestly ruined a lot of my friendships growing up. I jumped from different friend groups all the time. I would spend all summer with one group and then just totally isolate myself from them because I just felt like they weren't my people anymore. And that was something that I had made up in my head. Now that I'm 22 and I don't have many friends left to lose, I'm really trying my best to preserve those people that I really care about and find ways to fill my cup so that I have something to give back to them, so that I can ask them occasionally, how are you doing? Because I know I'm not the best with texting people, but I think if you are in the same boat as me, realizing that just a little bit of effort every day, just one text message back, just one FaceTime call every couple months can make a friendship last 5, 10 more years. And I think we all want that one friend that we can just have for the rest of our lives, you know? I think my progression from hating being alone to liking it a lot more really was only possible when I started my hobbies and started having a purpose in life that was greater than just hanging out with people. Making art every day and sharing it has changed my life in so many ways, not just monetarily, but it became something that challenges me, that helps me grow, that brings me joy whenever I make something that I'm really, really happy with, that has connected me with people, that showed me that my story and my struggles can help people. Being an artist and being self-employed, being a content creator allowed me to avoid climbing a corporate ladder that I didn't even want to climb in the first place. I hate climbing. And I'm trying to have the same foresight that I did as a high schooler. Even though I'm working like 10 times harder as I did as a 16-year-old, I'm still trying to find ways to save my energy, to do things that still bring me joy and fulfillment, or to fill my cup, so to speak, so that I still have energy 20 years, 30 years down the line. It's so hard to say what I'll be doing in the future. Like, a lot of you guys ask me, what's my 5-year plan? What's my 10-year plan? It's like, I don't know. All I know for sure is that I still want to be making art, whether that be handmade crafts or fine art or designing things. I think I'm the happiest when I'm creating things. Someone suggested that I talk about my culture and how it impacted my art journey, which I think is a super important subject to touch on. Growing up Vietnamese American, I was basically surrounded by immigrants who made a living with their own business. Whether it be a restaurant or a nail salon, all of my relatives made their own path, regardless of education or language barriers. But at the same time, I feel like whenever I would talk to one of my relatives or one of my friends' parents and say that I was an art major, I feel like deep in their eyes I could see confusion, or even, oh, I'm glad my daughter's not doing that. And like I said before, I love proving people wrong, and I think growing up in a culture that celebrates the STEM fields or business but not art definitely made me feel like I had something to prove. But thankfully my parents have always been super supportive of me, so I think that definitely helped a lot that they encouraged me to start my own business, even when I was selling these tiny charms for just like $12 each. That's part of the reason why I feel so strongly about sharing my story and sharing my business with others, because I don't ever want people to feel like they can't do this either. I get comments all the time that I'm only successful because I'm an attractive female, or that I know people in the right places, but that's just not true. The fine arts world is definitely still dominated by white middle-aged men, and if you look at some of the most successful art accounts on Instagram or TikTok, half of them don't even show their face. They just had the tenacity to keep trying, to keep posting, and to share their story, whether through voiceover or through text. And that is actually the perfect segue into the next question that I wanted to address, which is, how do I keep working on my goals and dreams even on days when I'm anxious or sad? I feel like as a content creator, there is sort of a pressure for me to give off this vibe that I know what I'm doing, to inspire others, and I do think that part of my job is really important, is to stay upright so that I can help others. And that being said, I am prone to feeling bits of anxiety or dread for the day, but now that I have certain responsibilities to not just myself but to other people, to my customers, to my clients, to the brands that I'm working with, there are days when I have to force myself to work. And I don't like saying like that, I have to force myself to work, because in reality I love what I do. But I think that's something that everyone experiences, whether they're studying for a really important exam or they just simply need to pay the bills. Sometimes you have to force yourself to work. But when it comes to making art, something that's so personal, that hinges solely on your mental state, it can be really hard to push yourself past that mental block. The way that I personally deal with this is by very small acts of kindness towards myself, recognizing that I feel tired, but being my own friend, thinking of little ways that would make my mood just a little bit better while still pushing myself to be disciplined. So I like to approach it in a very methodical way. I like to think, what's making me anxious? And more often than not, for me, anxiety comes from having so many things to do but not knowing where to start. So that's where my to-do lists come in. That's where my planner comes in. Just assessing the things that I need to do and just picking out the things that I need to get done today. And once I do those things, I'm instantly relieved. Other than the methodical side of just getting things done, there's also the small acts of kindness to just warm me up and encourage myself that everything will be okay. So when I'm feeling super anxious, I'll quickly get out my notebook and write some affirmations to myself. I know it sounds cheesy, and at first it can be sort of uncomfortable to sort of write down things that you don't necessarily believe in at first, but it gets easier to simply write, everything will be okay, that the universe is looking out for me, that I attract good opportunities, that I am going in the right direction. All of those things I constantly wrote down to myself, and now I truly believe that that's my reality. I also just love making myself a cup of warm tea or some coffee, just like a little beverage to get me through the day. Recently I've been frothing my milk just with a handheld frother and some warm milk in a cup, and it froths up to like a really nice foam, and I feel like I'm like a barista or something when I do it. That was actually one of my dream jobs as a kid, was to be a barista or a bakery owner. I think if I didn't pursue clay, I'd be a baker right now. I'd have a little bakery and I would make like kawaii treats and stuff. Oh, I wanted to be a journalist. I wanted to write about people's stories and take really good portrait photos of them like they do in The People of New York. I even joined like the school newspaper for a little bit, but then I realized that I had to be good at writing. So then I switched to graphic design. My camera died, so we're switching to the iPhone. Got a little cold, so I'm wearing my jacket, but look how pretty the sunlight is. One thing that's super nice about living in Colorado is that there's almost always sunlight, even if the weather forecast says it's gonna be cloudy. I think there's a statistic that we have 300 days of sun. When I lived at my parents' house, they get so much sunlight, and it's so warm and cozy. I would always just sit down on the ground with my eyes closed and just photosynthesize. I would just like sunbathe and soak up the sun, and I think that's really how I want my art to make people feel. Does that make sense? Right now I am looking forward to some larger projects like plushies and stuff like that, but I think there is some merit in how small and dainty and precious these guys are. And I think I probably am biased because I grew up on polymer clay miniatures and those types of creators. But I really do appreciate how something doesn't have to take up much space to have a large impact on you. I've always loved miniature things because maybe it's the fact that I related to them, the fact that I didn't take up much space either. Not that that's a good thing. Nowadays we're all trying to learn how to take up space, you know, how to speak up in a room and all of that jazz, but I think a huge part of art is the aspect of agency. The fact that you can create your own world and your own rules and just live a life that you want to live. But of course, I'm just rambling now. Here's how the frog guy turned out. He's gonna look like this in the end once I paint on the face details and use the acrylic pens to paint the sprinkles. But yeah, it's literally so tiny. Like, this is my thumbnail compared to the keychain. The sun is starting to go down now, so I'm gonna sculpt some more. I hope you liked this video. I hope you took something out of it and that I contributed something, at the very least, some coziness to your day. And yeah, I'll see you soon.
Rusty red on her shoulder, I was cleaning her shoe when it clicked on the trot over in the bright morning dew. We brushed and we braided dandelions and chewed. It was a mutual arrangement we both saw into.